I became obsessed with the Disney movie Encanto basically the minute that I watched it. I thought it was such a fun concept for a film, and I really loved the exploration of family dynamics. And let's be real, I want a magical house. So when I was contacted by a customer in October to make a couple of dice sets for his daughters inspired by Encanto and specifically Mirabel, I knew that I had to jump on these dice sets. Also, they were being shipped to Australia, so I really had to jump on them because I needed like a month for shipping. I wanted to share this dice pour here on YouTube so you all could see how I work with my paper butterflies that I order from Moth and Myth. Now, in this case, I spray painted them gold. Usually, I believe these are a monarch design. Obviously, for a Mirabel-inspired dice set, they needed to be gold. After they were spray painted, I worked with them the same way that I normally would, so kind of folding them however I want them to be placed, because they do come flat, but it's really easy to bend them and sort of bend the wings and do whatever else you want with them. After my dice mold was prepped with the butterflies, I needed to mix up my resin. I've told you this before on this channel. I use a 2-to-1 ratio resin, so 2 parts part A, 1 part B, and then mix until your hand hurts, about 3 to 4 minutes. After my resin was mixed, I put it to the side to let it start to thicken. I do use very low viscosity resins, so they never really get all that thick unless it's super cold. I wanted to give the resin a few minutes to thicken up a little bit since we are going to be working with a lot of inclusions. For the pink color that is in Mirabel's outfit, I wanted to use these pink flowers. It's almost like a pink baby's breath. It's really delicate, really subtle, but I thought it would be the absolute perfect pop of pink for this dice set. I am pulling all of the color inspiration for this dice set from Mirabel's costume, but the other colors are going to come from mica powder. After I had the butterfly and the flower in the mold, I filled up my mold about 3/4 of the way with clear translucent resin. I go really slow when I'm doing this because I don't want to overfill, but if it's not full enough, the effect that I'm going to be doing with the mica powder is just not going to look good. So I always take my time with this step. I have used this mica swirl technique before. You may have seen it in some of my Aurora Borealis designs. But basically, I take the colors that I want to use, in this case, this really beautiful, vibrant yellow and a nice teal, and I pour them into just my small little mixing cups. With this yellow, I just didn't use enough. Sometimes I can't tell until it's in the resin, so I had to add a little bit more until I got it the color that I wanted. Then I moved on to the teal, doing the same thing, just adding a little bit, mixing it, and making sure the color saturation is what I want. I'm using very little mica powder in this, so it's really important that the colors are dark enough. I started by using my teeny tiny dropper, and honestly, I hate pipettes. I don't know why I didn't just use a larger one, because the small ones are even worse. But at this point, I was committed, so I filled it up, and then you're going to see I just do 1 drop of the color into each of the mold slots, ignoring those final 2 because those are really just extra dice. They're not necessary for this set. For the yellow, as you can see, I did pull out a larger pipette because that little one is such a pain to work with. But essentially, I'm just doing the exact same thing. I'm going to fill the pipette, and then I'm going to do 1 drop of yellow right next to that drop of teal. I'm going to try not to overlap them, but put them side by side. And then once every single slot has a little bit of each color, in this case, I'm only doing 2 colors, but I've done this before with up to 4 colors. I'm then going to swirl them together. So I just have a little toothpick, and I'm going to swirl the 2 colors, and then I'm going to top it all off with more clear resin. And that's kind of key for getting this effect. Here you see me just filling in those 2 extras. Again, I don't need these last 2 dice for the set, but if the mold is not full, then the other dice may come out distorted. So it's really important to make sure that you fill up every slot in your mold. Here you see some of the butterflies are trying to escape, so I'm just poking them back down. And then I'm going to add some clear resin to the top. I'm using my heat gun to pop any surface bubbles right now because it is pretty cold on the day that I was casting this, and I just didn't think a lighter was going to cut it. Then it's time to put the lid on, and I let these hang out in my pressure pot for about 24 hours. I do have a heating band on it right now since, again, it is winter. And I accidentally deleted the demold footage on this dice set, but here they are all linked up. We decided to do black and white on the pips, again, as a representation of Mirabel's costume. And I love how this dice set turned out. I think the color saturation is absolutely perfect. It's just a little bit. It's not overpowering. You can still see those gold butterflies and the beautiful pink flower. And I really impressed myself with the polish on these because I made this die set very quickly to get them in the mail to Australia at least a month before Christmas. If you liked this die set, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, please click subscribe. Make sure you hit that alarm bell and you will get notified of future YouTube videos. And I will see you all next time. Bye!